Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. When bad things happen, do you tend to blame God for it? It's kind of easy to do, right? It's part of our nature to point the finger of blame when bad things happen. And depending on your religion, we're also brought up to be afraid of the wrath of God. However, getting to the bottom of what is really going on, that is much harder.
On the Christian radios I listen to every single day, sometime in every sermon, they would blame God. God's in total control. Every death, every situation, bad or good, that happens, God either did it or allowed the devil to do it. I knew in my heart all my life that could not be right, because that would mean demons work for God.
That is Delores J. Porter, and yes, there's a lot going on in the statement she just made. Delores is the author of the book God Doesn't Do Evil, That Good May Come, and in it she examines what God himself says about his character in his word, and shows why he isn't behind the sorrows and the tragedies of our lives, and she corrects some of the misunderstandings in traditional theology.
God is not guilty for any of the adversities in our lives. God is love. It's kind of like a missing link in our theology that made God sound like he's the big bad wolf and that all judgment and wrath comes from him, which it doesn't. It comes from the law of sin and death. And the Old Testament authors, they didn't have the Holy Spirit joined to them yet, see? And so God had to use illustrations and all kinds of things to talk with them, but they thought that God and the law of sin and death was one and the same. So that's one reason it makes the Old Testament sound like God's a God of wrath and judgment. And the more that I heard that revelation and the more that I studied, the more it burnt inside of me. God is a God of help and love, and people don't have to be afraid of him.
Delores says that she was moved to write this book in defense of God, because we're so quick to blame God for the terrible things that happen in our lives, that the truth is, when bad things happen, God weeps as well. He suffers with us. And she talks about how she came to these conclusions. She gives you some background on who she is so that you can better understand her motivation for writing this book and her other books, The Truth About God, God Out of the Shadows, book number 2, and of course, the one we're talking about today, God Doesn't Do Evil, That Good May Come, book number 1, which was recently re-released.
I've been a Christian all my life. I got saved so young, I don't even remember getting the experience, but I do remember some experiences at about 8 and 9 years old. I saw a vision of Jesus when I was about 8. I was raised in church, and I love Jesus so much. I played church all the time, and I just studied the picture of the baby's face in the manger, and I said, in my mind, a child's thought, I wonder what Jesus looks like now. All at once, the room turned neon white, and I just laid there, and here Jesus appeared right in the middle. It was his face, chest up. He just smiled at me. It was just like a peripheral visual.
Delores is not just an author. She's also a teacher, a speaker, and a songwriter. After the events of 9/11, she became driven to show everyone that God didn't cause the tragic events of that day.
The next morning, I was praying on my treadmill and grieving with God because I knew he'd get blamed.
And this became the genesis, if you will, for her books.
So I was praying, and I saw a vision of the Twin Towers, that picture that stuck in our minds that we first saw of the smoke and the two towers, and I saw that, and then I saw Jesus' face in the clouds, crying tears like rain all over it. It was not him. He had nothing to do with it. Words came to me while I was praying, and it was coming in first person, like God speaking straight to me and to America. And so I thought, I better write this down. And so I jumped off the treadmill and started writing with a Kleenex in one hand and a pencil in the other.
She wrote down what she heard, and it's in her book in the form of a letter. She hopes that all of her books will inspire you to seek God for the comfort he wants to give you, to gain new hope that instead of heartache, He has healing for you in body, mind, and spirit. God Doesn't Do Evil That Good May Come by Delores J. Porter. To learn more about Delores and her books, go online to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com, or just click on the description in this episode of Newsgram to find links to her materials. And that will do it for this edition of Newsgram from webtalkradio.com.